Pattersonians, I want to thank everyone for joining us for our virtual town hall meeting, which I called because there's a number of items we'd like to address. One, I want to dispel some of the misinformation that's being disseminated relative to the 5.6% tax increase that was included in the introduced budget. That only serves as a placeholder. I want to make that abundantly clear. Ultimately, when you receive your bill and transitional aid is factored in, our goal is to make it significantly less, in fact, closer to 2%, which has been the case for the past several years. And if I can elaborate on that, the city of Paterson is a transitional aid city. What that means is we do rely on the state for assistance. Last year, $27 million. This year, we're asking for $33 million because of cost drivers. There's insurance, there's pensions, there are salaries that escalate every year, and we have to keep up with those costs. Early on in my administration, we had asked for $40 million, and we were able to drive down that number to the point we were under 20 million. In fact, we were asking for $17 million in transitional aid. Unfortunately, I pointed to the fact that insurance and a variety of other items have increased. COVID-19 clearly did not help the situation. In fact, it exacerbated the situation as far as costs increase are concerned. But in addition to debunking some of the misinformation relative to the introduced budget and that 5.6% and getting closer to 2% when we factor in transitional aid, I also want to present Pattersonians tonight with solutions, with resources. We do have challenges, but we also have allies. And we have an ally in a former 6th Ward councilman who now proudly serves in the state legislature. And so we are honored to have with us today to shed light on some of the programs that he supports and we support. And we've been meeting with residents almost every day to share with them property tax relief programs. And so at this time, I'm going to yield to the aforementioned Assemblyman and former Councilman Al Abdulaziz so he can elaborate on those property tax relief programs that could provide resources for taxpayers in Paterson. Assemblyman, you're on.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Patterson. Thank you for having me here today. I understand the importance of what budgets are and what tax bills do and the affordability of New Jersey, our great city of Paterson. I'm here today because in the last 3 months, I've been afforded the opportunity to be your assemblyman. And as the mayor stated, we've met with thousands of residents. I've met with thousands of residents, and the main concern with many of the residents is affordability and taxes. And down in Trenton, we're fighting every single day to make sure that we could bring property tax relief resources to our residents. And one of the main ones that many of you know about is our anchor tax relief program. This is a very, very important program, and I cannot stress enough how important it is for our residents and our homeowners and renters. I'm going to get to the renters next. Our homeowners to apply and fill out their anchor forms. Many of our residents, this program will send you a direct deposit or check straight to your bank accounts of up to $1,500. Our legislative team and Senator Wimberly and Shavonda Sumter are strong supporters of this. Our mayor and our city council are big supporters of this program. And this is a direct property tax relief to our residents. The average property tax bill is $8,900 in the city of Paterson. If you receive $1,500 back, that's equivalent to close to 16% property decrease. This is not a stimulus program. This is not a one shot. You guys can have this. This is directly tied to your property tax relief or to property taxes, and we in Trenton want to give you that relief. So please make sure you fill this out if you are a homeowner. If you're a renter, this program sends you $450. We are working hard in Trenton to make sure in the next budget cycle that it currently is in the governor's proposed budget that we must approve by June 30th to make sure that this program stays in to help the residents of Paterson, both the homeowners and the renters. Another very important program that goes into that goes into effect January 2026. And please, this is for our, I like to call it, Mayor, our seasoned citizens,
I've
right?
heard you say that.
Anyone that's 65 years and older, we have a new program called Stay NJ. We understand what the rising property taxes throughout New Jersey, in our city, and especially in LD 35, is doing to our seniors. This program is going to will reimburse our seniors up to 50% of their property taxes. Let that sink in. Up to half of your property tax bill will be reimbursed to anyone that's 65 years or older that's paying taxes. Um, and that's going to start January 2026. I want to make sure all our seniors understand about this program, know about this program. This is a direct reimbursement of up to $6,500. So I like to use numbers. If you're paying the $9,000 in average property tax bill, your taxes will go down to $4,500 come January 2026. Our speaker is very, this is his program. We're making sure it's in the budget. The seed money's in this budget, so it could go into effect January 2026. The forms for our seniors are 65 and older. Now it's a one form for all three programs. So you should have received your PAS-1 form booklet that was mailed out. And you fill that out. That covers you for this year's anchor and next year's Stay NJ. We understand our legislative team, as I stated, our senator and our Senator Wimberly, Shavonda Sumter, we understand how important to make sure Patterson stays affordable. And we're going to continue to fight that we bring this alongside with our mayor and our city council members to make sure this program and direct property tax relief goes back to our residents. Mayor and Pattersonians, I will let you know in the assembly, I'm going to fight tooth and nail to try to make sure that we get all the transitional aid possible for this year's budget, so we don't have any tax increase higher than 2% that's outside your MOU. I will commit to that I will go to the front office, to the speaker's office, to the budget chair, to make sure that we try to get every single dollar that Patterson's requesting, because to take the burden off our taxpayers. And lastly, Mayor, we have a resource fair, May 14th. As I stated, we want to make our area more affordable for our utility bills. May 14th, there's a slide at the Great Falls Youth Center on Front Street in Preakness Ave from 10 to 4, that you could come there and get relief with your utility bills, that we're bringing state resources here to try to help you out. So I hope all Pattersonians, I'm sorry, from 11 to 4 p.m., please come out. We're here to help. I'm here to help. And I hope to see everyone there. Our office number is 201 381 1110. If no one answers, please keep a voicemail so our staff can get back to you. If you have any assistance, I need any assistance with your forms. If you don't think you filled it out, or you filled it out right, wrong, we'll get you the forms. We'll give you that assistance, because if you don't fill out the anchor form, you're leaving money on the table. Our district has one of the lowest return rates of these forms. So please do not keep this money in Trenton. I want to bring it back to our district so you guys and the residents could get the property tax relief that you deserve. Thank you again, Mayor, for having me. And I'm always a phone call away to assist our great city of Patterson.
Assemblyman, thank you for taking out the time to elaborate on very value-added information that could benefit our residents. And if I could dovetail on what you stated earlier, as far as advocating for transitional aid is concerned, I met with the mayor and state senator from Union City, Brian Stack. They're another transitional aid town. He's asked for almost $47 million. So Patterson's asking for $33 million, and we're significantly larger. So he, being a state senator, can do as much as you can, if not more, in the state Senate to make sure that transitional aid is funded for his town, our town, and then there are other towns as well. A total of 10 transitional aid towns in the state of New Jersey. They actually added another Ocean Gate. So quite frankly, I look forward to our partnership, our continued partnership to the benefit of our residents in Paterson. And I want to encourage anyone who's watching that they should take advantage of all these resources, whether it's the anchor program, Stay NJ, or your resource fair. Any way we can save our residents money, we can consider that a win for them and for our city. And I just also want to remind everybody, I'm a taxpayer too, who's sending all three of his children to the Paterson Public Schools. So understand that, look, we all have skin in the game, but we also want to make sure that people are aware of the assistance that is available and that people are able to leverage whatever resources there are at their disposal. So let me just dive right in. And once again, Assemblyman, if you have to leave at any time, again, we want to let you know how grateful we are for you just being present and for once again shedding light on some of these property tax relief programs. Now, as far as a budget breakdown is concerned, for a point as a point of information, we're making a very heavy investment in public safety, police and fire. As you can see on the chart, a 300 million plus dollar budget, 33.4% is earmarked for police, fire, and OEM, and then insurance, as I referred to as a cost driver, 20.2%, followed by pension and fringe benefits at 12.7%. And then you could see we do bring in a significant amount of grants. As a matter of fact, when we started, part of the reason, the driving force behind hiring a grant writer, which the city didn't have, was to ease the burden on the general operating budget. So the parks that are being improved, some of the roads that are being resurfaced, they are being supported by way of grant. And then you can see there's general government costs, utilities, public works and recreation, and then there are other items. Of course, we have debt as well. So those are some of the estimated expenses that are baked inside of our budget. Now, property taxes. I alluded to it earlier as far as the breakdown is concerned, but if I could do a deeper dive into the estimated tax bill, you could see the municipality is 2.8%, public schools 1.2%, the county is 1%, the library is 0.7%, and for those that are not aware, there's the Passaic County open space item, which is 0.2%. Every year, Paterson does apply for open space funding, and we identify a particular project, whether it be restoring a historic park or improving a existing structure. And we typically do receive that money as well. And we created a nonprofit organization, which was spearheaded by our councilwoman, Maritza Davila, called the Friends of Paterson Parks, so that we can apply for additional open space money and we can get more of a return on our actual investment. Now, I do want to elaborate a little further on what I alluded to earlier as far as property taxes are concerned. We are, once again, a transitional aid city, and we're mandated to raise taxes at least 2% a year. And I have to give the credit council, or give the council credit, because our finance chairwoman, Maritza Davila, is adamant about keeping it as close to 2%. And that's something that we've been able to achieve. And quite frankly, that's what we want to continue to do. And that's why we had our assemblyman on to emphasize the importance of making sure that we do receive everything that we've requested as far as transitional aid is concerned. Now, in order to keep that at 2%, we've asked for $33 million. And so you heard from the assemblyman, you know that we're advocating, our state senator is advocating, our assemblywoman, Siobhan DeSumter, is advocating as well. So the transitional aid is dependent upon a timely introduction of the budget. So we do need to be in compliance so that we can actually submit what is equivalent to an application to the state so that they can calculate what we would receive in transitional aid. And typically, April, May is the time frame in which an introduced budget is adopted by the municipal council. And then in the summer, closer to August, we do receive a letter indicating how much transitional aid Paterson is going to receive. But I want to underscore the importance that the introduced budget has no immediate effect on your bill. Any changes to your bill, your tax bill, only go into effect after adoption of the budget. So if I could just elaborate a little bit further about what happens after adoption, your next property tax bill will include the third and fourth quarters of 2025 and the preliminary first and second quarters of 2026. If we are awarded 100% of transitional aid, you will only see the mandatory 2% tax increase on your bill. So once again, one of the primary reasons for calling for this session is to debunk the misinformation that is being disseminated relative to the 5.6% property tax increase in the introduced budget. Once again, I can't underscore it enough. That is a placeholder. It does not include, the introduced budget does not include transitional aid because we don't know exactly how much we're going to receive. However, in order to identify how much we ultimately get from the state, we have to have an adopted introduced budget followed by a letter from the Department of Community Affairs indicating how much transitional aid we are going to receive. And like we stated before, we have our entire legislative delegation lobbying Trenton, the governor's office, to ensure that our transitional aid award is as close to $33 million as possible so that taxes are only increased by 2%. I also want to emphasize the fact that we live in an inflationary environment. So it is very difficult, and affordability has been an issue in not only the presidential election last November, but also in the upcoming gubernatorial election this November as well. And that's why we had invited the assemblyman to talk about some of those resources, to talk about some of those solutions that we have to help provide property tax relief for Pattersonians. And I want to elaborate a little bit further on some additional resources that are available. Sharesnation.org. You can apply for assistance with your utility, rent, mortgage, and property tax bills. So that's one entity that can provide some relief for ratepayers, taxpayers alike. I also want to elaborate on the Financial Empowerment Center. It's something that my administration, in collaboration with the City Council, created. It's the only one in the state of New Jersey. And it's only available to residents of Patterson. And over 1,000 Pattersonians have been able to reduce their debt, improve their credit score, and save money. In fact, let me give you a data point. To date, we have helped Patterson residents save $1 million. And we've helped Patterson residents reduce their debt by $2.8 million. Everywhere I go and anytime I engage with any of the constituents, I make it a point to give that individual a card so they can either make a call to make an appointment, and it's confidential, and of course, at no cost, or scan the QR code on that card to schedule an appointment. As a matter of fact, that information is there for anyone who is interested. And hearing about this program for the first time, there it is for you to set yourself up with a confidential one-on-one free counseling session. Again, we've helped Patterson residents save more than $1 million and reduce their debt by $2.8 million. We want to continue to increase both of those amounts, help people save money and help Patterson residents reduce their debt. So I strongly urge you to take full advantage of this free Financial Empowerment Center program that we created a few years ago. Also, there's the Energy Outreach New Jersey program to help with reducing some costs around your home, save some money through a free home energy assessment. And it includes smart thermostats, LED light bulbs, power strips, and a number of other items. So these are resources that are available that we want Patterson residents, in addition to the Anchor program, in addition to the Stay New Jersey, in addition to the Resource Fair or the Utility Assistance Day that is being hosted by our Assemblyman on May 14th that we can offer. But if I could underscore one of our initiatives, it would be the Financial Empowerment Center, because we are showing real results and we are providing real relief for Patterson residents, helping them reduce their debt, you saw it, by $2.8 million, and helping them save money, over $1 million saved by Patterson residents. At this time, We did receive questions from residents, and I will address those. And the first one comes from Julie, and that is relative to tax abatements. So just to read that, can you explain why the city offers tax abatements to developers and large companies? Many residents feel that if these entities paid their fair share of taxes like we do, it could help reduce our city's debt. Other surrounding towns don't seem to rely on these incentives, so why do we? Let me take everyone back to 2013. The state legislature, through the Economic Opportunity Act, created the Garden State Growth Zone. The purpose of the Garden State Growth Zone was to incentivize investment in urban centers, because in the past, places like Trenton, Atlantic City, Camden, Patterson were neglected. So, in order to attract that investment, there had to be some level of an incentive. The incentive is the Garden State Growth Zone, which Patterson participates in. And it's both a pilot, it's both an abatement and a pilot. So these investors will ultimately start paying taxes on these properties entering year 10. And then every year it escalates. So ultimately, in the 30th year, you will get full taxation. This isn't something the city can control. This is as of right. So any new construction done anywhere in any of these Garden State growth zones, whether it's Trenton, whether it's Camden, whether it's Patterson, as of right, these individuals do receive an abatement and a pilot, and it escalates. Like I stated before, you'll see full taxation in 30 years. Other towns don't rely on this because they are not a part of the Garden State Growth Zone. And unfortunately, if I can even take it back further, in the 50s and 60s, Patterson was the first planned industrial city. We were known for our factories, and that's why we were able to attract immigrants and migrants, whether from South America or the American South, to work in Patterson. But unfortunately, those factories left and there was a disinvestment. So the city had to scramble to replace that revenue, to address that disinvestment. And we're still attempting to address that disinvestment. The Garden State Growth Zone, it's a tool to help entice development, or should I say incentivize development in the city of Patterson. It has worked to the point where when we started, there were 1,200 abandoned properties. Now there are fewer than 200 properties. So we've seen that number decrease by 80%. So ultimately, there will be an escalator, and you'll start seeing taxes being paid on those properties, the new developments. But in the meantime, there will be additional revenue streams that we have to strongly consider. My administration did introduce legislation for licenses for cannabis, and we'd like to see that materialize. We do have a dispensary rise, and they are contributing to the tax base, but there's more that can be done with that specific revenue stream. Now, Mr. Price's question, as far as all development is concerned, that was answered in the Garden State growth with the Garden State Growth Zone and our participation to incentivize investment in the city of Patterson. So once again, for those that are not aware, yes, we are a part of this program along with a number of other cities, and we are seeing an increase as far as investment is concerned. But as far as full taxation is concerned, that won't be seen for a significant period of time. Now, I know we have some questions from Michael. Libbys Lunch once generated revenue for the city. What is the plan to restore this landmark business and have it generate tax revenue? Well, Libbys Lunch was sold in an auction for over $800,000, and it is under construction. It will be a restaurant-style cafe near the Great Falls. We do anticipate it being an economic draw. We do anticipate that there will be revenue generated as a result, and we do anticipate that the restaurant-style cafe, the Silk Cafe, will be contributing to the tax base. As far as the next question is concerned, Patterson Plus, this is a tool that we have implemented here in the city for constituents to use. City Council did support See Click Fix, which we personalized and called Patterson Plus. We've used it for citizen complaints, residents' complaints. We've used it to schedule bulk pickup. We've used it for a whole host of reasons. My new chief of staff, Dassel Tilos, has been tasked with this Patterson Plus app in making sure that we are up to date with addressing resident concerns. She has joined us, so at this time, I want to yield to her so that she can elaborate as to what is being done with the Patterson Plus app and how we can improve the way we serve our residents and address their concerns. So, Chief of Staff Dassel Tilos, at this time, I'm going to defer to you.
Thank you, Mayor. So our office has been working closely with our data analyst and our lead process administrator, who also came by way of the Bloomberg Harvard Fellow. We've been going through the data, the information that have been shared by the constituents and community members. Our goal right now is to revamp the whole application, go through any concerns that have already been shared, and make sure that they are reaching the staff members and individuals that will need to address those concerns. Our goal through the revamp is making sure that staff members receive the information, they're addressed in a timely manner, and that we're responding to residents to advise them on what actions were taken as far as their concerns. So it's going to take some time because there is data that we need to clean up, but our team is working closely with this and hoping to get it out there and back to the public soon.
Thank you. Also, I alluded earlier to scheduling bulk trash pickup. As a result of our efforts, when we initially started with bulk trash pickups and scheduling, we were at 27%. Now we're almost at 60% of residents getting acclimated to the new normal and scheduling their bulk trash pickups. But I also want to let residents know that we have purchased 2 trucks devoted to picking up trash through the Department of Public Works. One of the trucks will be used for the downtown district. There have been some challenges. As a matter of fact, as a result of this new garbage contract, we reduced the number of days where we collected trash in the downtown district from 6 to 2. This truck will afford us an opportunity to increase that number to once again go back to 6 days of garbage collection in your downtown district. The second truck will be used as utility. So, for example, when one zone in particular in a weekend is designated for the bulk trash pickup, that extra truck on a Monday will go through the area to make sure that we haven't missed anything. So there is support on the way. Additional efforts, and we all know that keeping our city clean also starts with you, that residents play a role as well. So we visited Camden and learned some best practices on how they've addressed illegal dumping, beautifying their city. We are actually on the brink of becoming an affiliate of Keep America Beautiful. It's a nationally renowned program that has helped other cities beautify and clean their communities, which we all know keeping any community clean is not a spectator sport. Everybody plays a role. Just to give you an example of what Keep America Beautiful has done, they catalyzed one of the most successful anti-litter programs, which was in Texas, and it was called Don't Mess with Texas. And their data shows that they reduced litter by 72%. We have fashioned a program here in Patterson known as Patterson is Picking Up, and we've scheduled community cleanups. In fact, we started on Earth Day last week with our initial community cleanup in the downtown district, and there are several community cleanups that are scheduled that will take place throughout the year. As a matter of fact, if our chief of staff would elaborate a little bit further on some of the other efforts we are taking to keep our community clean, now would be the opportune time.
Thanks, Mayor. So, as you mentioned, we do have cleanups going on every month going into October. So we really wanted to reach out to the community to, if you were interested in participating, please reach out to our office at 973-321-1600. We're also working with the police department, our DPW teams to an innovation team regarding some cameras for illegal dumping. And working with also with our legal team and DPW as far as citations for anyone that is dumping. I know, Mayor, you've shared that information many times online. We are working on it to address it, but it is a community effort as far as keeping our city clean.
Yeah, we have actually been able to catch over 20 people illegally dumping in our city, and we will catch more with these cameras that have been installed. So you can anticipate hearing more about malefactors being identified and summarily penalized for their illicit activities relative to unlawfully disposing their garbage. So that's yet another initiative that we've launched and want to bring to your attention as well. At this time, I also would like to introduce for the first time to the general public our incoming business administrator who comes to us by way of Passaic County, where he served as the deputy county administrator, but he has extensive experience in many municipalities where he's played many or held many positions. One, of course, is business administrator. And in his interview, he stood out because he was actually the only candidate that addressed the issue of eventually weaning Patterson off of transitional aid and being creative in the way we do it. So this is a young man with a growth mindset. He's a divergent thinker. He brings a wealth of experience to the city of Patterson, and we believe that we will benefit as a result of his management skills and management style. So at this time, I'm proud to introduce to Patterson our incoming business administrator, Mr. Mark Seaman.
Good afternoon, residents of Patterson. I'm not sure if you can see me yet.
Well, we can see you and we can hear you too.
You can hear me. Beautiful, wonderful. First, I just wanted to thank you, Mayor, for the opportunity to be the business administrator for the city. And I want to thank Assemblyman Abdelaziz for coming on and taking time out of his busy schedule to talk about the services that the state is currently having open for residents. Coming into a situation like this where there are a lot of fiscal challenges within the city, my goal is to find ways to eventually transition off of transitional aid. And, that's something that does take time. It's something that takes a lot of effort, and it's a group effort. And I plan on working very strongly with our administrative staff and our financial staff and our financial professionals to find creative ways that we can reduce those costs. And I can't stress enough the importance of introducing that first round of our budget so that the state has the opportunity to see what we have put together. And the residents of the city have my complete and undivided attention on ensuring that that number will go down. It's going to take some time. I start on Monday, and my number one priority right now coming into the city, outside of getting to know the staff and learning more about the way things are done, is to jump right into the budget and ensure that we are doing everything we possibly can to make sure that we're presenting a responsible and fiscal budget to our residents.
Thank you, Mr. BA. We are eager to have you start on Monday. And so, once again, in summary, the reason why, well, there are a number of reasons why I've asked for this session. One, like I stated before, to address the misinformation that has been disseminated relative to the introduced budget and the 5.6% tax increase, which only serves as a placeholder, and that ultimately, in the final budget, the number would be closer to 2%. But that also depends on our efforts, lobbying with the legislators and ensuring that we get a number as close to $33 million in transitional aid as possible. Also, we wanted to present opportunities, resources for Patterson residents to capitalize on. One, the Assemblyman referred to the Anchor program. There was information embedded in this presentation that will be to the benefit of our residents. Two, he also talked about Stay NJ, which primarily focuses on senior citizens. And three, resources available as far as assistance with utility bills is concerned. Then the breakdown of the budget and what we're spending our money on, primarily on public safety, and then obviously the cost driver of insurance and pensions, and then what I had stated before as far as keeping up with salaries that increase every year. And then programs that we created, such as the Financial Empowerment Center, where we've actually seen real results, where we've provided real relief for residents. As a matter of fact, $1 million saved for those who participated in the program, Patterson residents, and $2.8 million in debt reduction for Pattersonians who have participated in this free and confidential program, the Financial Empowerment Center. And so we're doing our best to address the concerns of our residents, and we come to work every day with that in mind. It's all about identifying opportunities for improvement, but also opportunities for alignment. We need collaboration. There is power in partnerships. So the legislative and executive branches have to create that synergy so that we can effectively advocate for transitional aid and get as close to the $33 million as possible so that we can create more opportunities for our residents to save money and to realize relief on their property tax bills. So I want to thank everyone for joining us this evening, and I encourage all those that have participated in this evening's virtual town hall meeting to follow us in social media. Once again, we appreciate your time and your attention. Thank you.